There have been mixed reactions to President Bola Tinubu's Sunday broadcast targeted at addressing scores of protesters demanding end to bad governance and hunger in Africa's biggest oil-producing country. Now, hundreds of young Nigerians have staged End Bad Governance in Nigeria protests across the nation since Thursday to actually demonstrate against the cost of living crisis in the nation. Prices of staples like rice, beans, bread, yam, and some other staples have jumped up by over 100% in 1 year, and protesters say they are hungry owing to economic mismanagement. This morning from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, I have joining me Dr. Samson Simon, Chief Economist, ARKK Economics Data Limited. Thank you so much, Dr. Simon, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Lekon. Good morning, Nigerians.
So first, what's your opinion of President Tinubu's speech on Sunday from an economic perspective?
Well, the president just reeled out some of the things he has done in the past 14 to 15 months that he has been in power. And while nobody has said that the president has not done anything, but the truth is he has not actually done anything that has moved the needle. The key phrase here, that has moved the needle. So while he has rolled out different policies and programs, and he deserves kudos for that, but in all honesty, he has introduced some policies that have really rolled back the economic prosperity of virtually all Nigerians by removing subsidy without any plan whatsoever. I know on paper we say if subsidy is removed, it will free up resources for infrastructure, for healthcare, for education, for social safety nets and so on. But in all honesty, we haven't seen anything different from what we had even before he announced the subsidy was gone. And then the floating of the naira when we had paucity of forex. And because you floated, the naira got depreciated or devalued by several times over from official exchange rate of something in the region of 460 to around 1,600 now, which is a more than grievous devaluation in terms of damage that it has done to the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. So what he has done, if you juxtapose those things he mentioned in the speech compared to the damage that has been done to the purchasing power of the Nigerian, it's just a drop in the ocean. It is not going to be enough. It's basically, I know the president means well and is doing everything to solve some of our problems, but in all honesty, what he's doing is not enough. And even the things he mentioned, they're just tiny fraction of what is actually required. And as government, there's limit to what you can do. So don't try to do everything by yourself. Incentivize private sector, incentivize investors, whether domestic or foreign, to come and do these things. And Dangote is arguably the largest investor, at least in recent times in Nigeria. He built a refinery costing almost $20 billion. What has the authorities, what have the authorities done in recent times to even encourage Dangote? We removed subsidy, and domestic production would have helped because it will not be subject to the vicissitude of market forces or non-market forces of foreign exchange. Have we done anything to help Dangote refinery in order to help the Nigerian people or the Nigerian population? I don't think we have done enough. So the speech, the president might have meant well, but it has not actually addressed the demands of Nigerians. It has not helped with the hunger we're talking about. Nigeria is the worst place on earth when it comes to affordability of food. It's one of the worst places when it comes to the availability of food. And our agricultural sector is something in the region of a quarter of our GDP. It's still not enough. So what exactly are we doing that can move the needle that people can see impact? And I think the authorities are focusing on efforts instead of results. So I think that's the wrong way of looking at things. We need to focus on results. How
Now,
much
Dr. Simon, sorry to come in here. Now, the president has actually said that it needs more time. And while he was talking yesterday, he said that about 9.1 trillion naira revenue was realized in the first quarter, or in the first half rather, of 2024 from a 28.7 trillion naira signed budget and expenditure. And people are saying that, oh, this is worth celebrating. And if the president is given more time, we'll be able to reap more benefits from these economic policies. How do you see it?
Well, I don't think it's okay the way the authorities keep asking Nigerians to be patient. Somebody is dying of starvation. There is hunger, and you're asking the person to be patient. And by the way, you have to demonstrate leadership. You know, Nigerians are going through hard times. I think it was the Financial Times that said this is the harshest cost of living crisis in a generation. What have the people in power done so that they can win over the population? Are they going through the same hardship? Or while they ask us to be patient, like one of them said, we'll be protesting and they'll be eating. Is it what has been happening? So you need, if you want people, the Nigerian population, to understand, in all fairness to the president, he inherited a very bad economy. According to Soludo, it was a dead economy. The economic situation was terrible, but he has not made things any better. In fact, he has made things far worse because some of the policies that he has introduced have worsened the livelihoods and the standards of living of Nigerians. So they were not properly thought out. I know on paper as an economist, I had also supported subsidy removal in the belief that resources would be freed up for more important things instead of cutting down the price of fuel, but we have not seen that.
But then what about, Dr. Simon, but then what about the 50% reduction in travel costs by the executive that the president announced a couple of months back, and the 50% reduction in salaries by the House of Rep? Because we're actually talking about the fact that the people in power have not actually done anything in terms of sacrifice towards the nation.
I think it's a good gesture. And no matter how small, Nigerians are grateful. I think we should commend them for the effort. But let's face the reality. Is that enough to move the needle? I mentioned that we need to do something that actually moves the needle. We need to see impact. By saying your salaries should be cut in half, right? How does that help the Nigerian on the street? I know it's symbolic, it's a good gesture, it's a kind gesture, but we need things beyond just gesture. We need to go beyond cosmetics. What we've been doing is basically cosmetics. So we need to really roll up our sleeves and get serious. The political class is still living large, while Nigerians are suffering, and they're asking Nigerians to be patient. So nobody will buy that. It will never cut it. No matter how much you tell us, we know that the country is in a bad economic shape. But meanwhile, you're asking us to be patient, people are starving. I was watching a video on Arise. A boy came out to protest and he was willing to kill if necessary, a little boy. And he said he has not eaten in 2 days. So what exactly has the government done to help somebody like that in Sokoto to feed? So they have not, I'm sorry to say, what they have done is not enough. It is terribly below what is needed. And we really need to see concrete results. And they will tell you that this suffering is just for the meantime, that things will get better. What exactly is going to get better? And how is it going to get better? You don't just assume that things will get better. Under Buhari, we were told the same thing for 8 good years. Nothing changed. Things got even worse. So how sure are we that this time around things are not going to be different? So you have to convince Nigerians. I'm not saying that things will definitely not be different, but prove to us that things should be different from what we saw under the last administration.
And to even add to that worry, Dr. Simon, is the fact that, despite the fact that the president said that the servicing of debt has reduced from 97% to 68%, we still see Nigerian borrowing more. And African investors actually said that there's a possibility that this debt portfolio for the country would increase to about 130 trillion naira. Where are we actually headed?
Well, there's something about this, our debt service to revenue ratio. It has improved. Kudos to the president, kudos to the government. It's commendable if there is progress, no matter how small, no matter how snail-paced, it deserves commendation. So, but we have actually improved our debt service to revenue ratio by sacrificing our debt to GDP ratio. And even though the debt service to revenue ratio has improved, it is still very, very high. The ideal debt service to revenue ratio is 22.5% for an economy like ours. We're doing 68%, which is still not okay. I know we have made progress. We were talking about 97% in the first half of last year. So we have made progress. And like I said, give kudos to the government for that. But it's still not enough. And then at what cost are we getting, have we improved this debt service to revenue ratio? We have ballooned our debt to GDP ratio. For example, ways and means. The ways and means, which was done in a way that was completely unconscionable, with complete disregard for rule of law, completely destroying the economy and the monetary authorities. The government just asked the central bank to just print tens of trillions of naira and pour that into the economy, completely destroying the economy, completely destroying the central bank in the process. And by the way, it's against the law. It's criminal, right? But this is a loan that you pay, and it's supposed to be a monetary policy rate plus 3%. Our monetary policy rate is 26.7% at the moment. If you add 3%, it will be 29.75%, which is around 30%. So we reduced that by securitizing the ways and means, and we got rate of interest that is below 10%. So we have reduced our debt service to revenue ratio automatically by doing that. But we have ballooned our debt stock. And the limit, self-imposed limit by the Nigerian authorities is 40% debt to GDP ratio. Now we're talking around 50%, which is the limit set by the World Bank. And we keep on borrowing, and it's likely going to get worse. And another thing is, if you look at in nominal terms, we may seem to have better revenue. Okay. But in real terms, we may not have even made we have not made progress, not even by an inch, sadly.
All right. Dr. Samson Simon, Chief Economist, ARKK Economics and Data Limited, actually say thank you to you. You're actually passionate about this, and we hope that the Nigerian government will take cues from these submissions to actually do better. Thank you so much for your time.